Alrighty guys, welcome back and welcome to a new series, Tonton's Top Tips, where we're looking at military concepts and how they're going to apply in-game. On today's agenda, we're looking at force multipliers. What are they and how can you use them? First things first though, we're going to need a definition. A force multiplier is any factor that increases the likelihood of mission success. That is not simply adding more people. Force multis are a numbers game at its very core, and it's best thought of in terms of ratio. Consider what you believe is a fair fight. The ratio probably looks 1 to 1. Now, however, imagine that you're 3 times better trained, better equipped, more tactically inclined than your enemy. Now a ratio of 3 to 1 is still a fair fight. You can see how in games such as the Ghost Recon series, the ability to harness force multis is so important. Excluding rebel support at any one time, the most amount of teammates you have is 3. That's 4 guys up against an entire cartel and a paramilitary, with some missions stacking the odds 20 plus to 1. Now, how do you stay competitive? How do you compete with something like that? Well, first things first, let's have a look at some ground rules. We need a baseline to work up from. What is our combat baseline? From what do we measure our improvement? That's where this guy Jimmy comes in. Jimmy is our baseline. He has a basic rifle, no attachments, no plan, no armor, no training, no clue, really. So how do we take someone like this and throw in some force multis and turn them into someone like this? Where we start to look at the right equipment for the job, wearing the right armor, the right camouflage, adding better attachments, bring the correct weapon system, applying some skills and some knowledge to a task. Then how can you take all of these decisions and add even more tactical considerations, where you can start using the environment, not just the terrain, but also the weather, the time of day, your enemy's sleeping patterns, their patrol routes, their reinforcement patterns, learning and adapting to their response to contact. All these things that a true tactician plans for. Now, I'm sure you already consider some of these factors when you create a class or plan for a mission. But this video is going to demonstrate to you that by being more deliberate in your decision making and being considerate of force multis, you'll dramatically increase the likelihood of mission success. But first, let's have a look at what happens when we don't consider any of that. So here we see Jimmy charging bravely into the fray. Now, initially, Jimmy holds the element of surprise, which is a strong and valuable force multiplier. But with no real consideration to maintaining it, it quickly disappears and he pays the price. But hold up now. Let's see what happens when we keep exactly the same equipment, but we just sprinkle on a little bit of training. Let's see what do you learn? What's the first things that happen at basic? So Jimmy's going to maintain a bit of standoff, create some distance, okay? Make sure he's not up close and personal. He's going to adopt a solid shooting position, so he's taken a knee. Instead of sort of hip firing, we're now taking deliberate shots. We're aiming down sights and being considerate with where we're shooting. We're not spraying uncontrollably. We are attempting to hit the target with every round. And with something as simple as this, we're seeing a dramatic increase in his survivability. Just a little bit of training, a little bit of consideration, and already the mission is going considerably better. But will he hold on? It's not looking good. And unfortunately not. There we go. He finally didn't make it. But look, round 3. So let's help Jimmy out. A simple yet effective force multiplier is considered weapon attachments to increase efficiency. Now, efficiency, a word which here means one's ability to rapidly neutralize targets with minimal waste of resources. So to achieve this, Jimmy now has an ACOG sight. With magnification, increase the likelihood of a first round hit, and a suppressor to hold on to surprise for a little bit longer and decrease the speed at which he's detected by reducing that, not only his audible signature but also his visual signature by reducing that muzzle flash. Jimmy is also going to adopt a shooting position which limits his exposure and reduces the probability of being hit. He'll also take his time to gather intelligence on the enemy, doing some recon. And you will engage the command structure first, okay? By removing the leadership, you can add a little bit of confusion, add a little bit of disarray. The next target is going to be the enemies in a row to decrease the transition time between targets and increase the efficiency of his target neutralization. So with all of that in mind, with these new force multipliers that we've equipped him with, which honestly, it's only 2 attachments, it's not that many, but let's see what sort of difference that makes, and we'll see how he goes.
Salgan, cabrones. Casi no les va a doler.
And well, would you look at that? With just 2 attachments, a sight and a suppressor, we've now taken on 10 enemy successfully, a ratio of 10 to 1 without any hassles. Done and dusted. But let's turn it up a notch. We already know that surprise is a valuable force multiplier, but it's delicate and it rarely lasts the whole mission. So while it's important to be able to employ stealth, it's equally important to respond with violence when compromised. Violence of action is not a method to be overlooked or ignored. It's not a meat-headed tactic. It can be employed skillfully. A well-placed 40mm grenade can eliminate 4 hostiles simultaneously, increasing your effectiveness and by extension, your force ratio 4-fold. So what we've done is we've given Jimmy some new toys, and a beard, which is known to be a force multiplier of at least 10. True story. See now, Jimmy's not mucking around. Slow to start with some initial deliberate reconnaissance, then immediately dump some grenades on target. Now he's transitioned for some belt-fed loving. The ability to effectively suppress an enemy is one of the greatest force multipliers out there. If your enemy is suppressed, they're combat ineffective. This will either give you or a teammate the opportunity to maneuver. A good rule of thumb for suppression is 1 round every second within a meter will keep that enemy pinned down. Highly valuable. Very, very valuable in a tactical setting. And would you look at that, he's done it again. He's becoming unstoppable. So we've looked at surprise, violence, and a small amount of standoff, but let's really create some distance. If you're anything like me, you're always itching for the next sniper mission. There's something about long-range shooting that really just makes me feel good. A sniper's role is more than just getting rounds on target, however. It's also about gathering information. So step 1, good positioning, high, out of the way with good sightlines. Step 2, reconnaissance, gather as much intelligence as you can. Then, recognize just how outnumbered you truly are, and do something about it. Mortars is a great place to start. Create confusion and fear in the enemy. And when they start to run around like a chicken with their head cut off, start making that analogy less figurative. Did you hear that explosion? That's a plan coming together. Being flanked by reinforcements, but a good tactician plans for worst case scenarios. One such scenario is being flanked, so precautions were taken. Anti-personnel, anti-vehicle mines are another great force multiplier. It allows me to cover my flank without calling on additional units to assist. And would you look at that, another clean run. Jimmy has done it again, more ways than one. Guys, next time you're planning a mission, consider what force multipliers you're going to use. What equipment? What attachments? How will you manipulate the environment? Manipulate the enemy? How will you use all available resources to be as efficient as you can be? But don't forget, in the end, all of this, every bit, is just a game. So don't forget to have a little bit of fun and see, I don't know, maybe just what you can get away with. Guys, this video has been an absolute blast to make. I really hope you're going to enjoy this series. Please don't forget to leave a like and comment if there are any topics or concepts that you want to learn more about. You'll notice too that I'm doing some videos, some Throwback Thursday videos and some older games where we look at CQB tactics in-game and see how that affects gameplay. So don't forget to check those out as well. Also, stay posted for some more highly tactical Wildlands gameplay coming very, very soon. Alrighty guys, have fun, and I will see you on the next one. Taunton Tactics, out.